Hello, everybody, and welcome to our conversation in our series on seeking harmony. Today is, if I'm not mistaken, part 20, but I could be wrong, so we're going to say 19 or 20. And for today, we are, and we have been over the last few weeks exploring various formats of the conversation. And for today, we are changing it up a bit. So we're going to look at a range of topics. And in that range of topics, I think there's potentially a golden thread that will come through our conversation. And we'll highlight that as we go along. So I think one of the things that we're trying to do is just to bring light and consider what is true in what we're finding in the media and in the stories that we're reading, and even in the experiences that we're having. So having said that, I'd like to just open it up to the team in terms of some of those topics that Yoreen shared with us and see what you feel like starting with for today. So there was quite a bit, and I think the thing that really stood out for me was the topic around abuse and sexual harassment at the United Nations. And I was like, well, that's quite bizarre, as these are the people that are generally required to maintain the standard of human rights across the world. So I felt like that was a good place to start because, you know, bring home what you're actually speaking to, in the same sense as if you were a manager and you expected your teams to do certain things, you would need to lead by example. So for me, that really stood out in the sense of what is happening internally amongst employees within the United Nations. So yeah, I'm going to open that up to everybody, and if that's not what you felt was the topic that really stood out for you, please feel free to share.
I can share. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah, good. Yeah, okay. I think I agree with you because obviously it's like a story of sexual assault in the United Nations, so it definitely has an impact on people of all nationality. And I think it was quite shocking in the sense that there's a misalignment between the people that are supposed to bring peace.
Irene, I just want to check in with you. Do you have a microphone on your earphones? Can you hold it close to your mouth?
Can you hear me? No, I don't.
Oh, that's better. That's a bit better. Hold it as close as you can.
Okay. Okay, right. So yeah, I think that stood out to me because it's obviously it's an international story. Pertains to many people from many countries, and the shocking thing is like the misalignment that there is between the role of people who are supposed to hold peace and the fact that they are not held accountable for their actions because they actually have some sort of diplomatic protection against penalty. And yeah, I feel it was. I'm just getting some misalignment there. I'm not sure. Like, how do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I guess I feel like it's the same. It's like, that is interesting. You know, what you brought up earlier, what you guys brought up earlier, that the United Nations is like supposed to, you know, be responsible for trying to like encourage countries, I don't know the right word, but I'll just say like encourage countries to, you know, have human rights and maintain standards for human rights. And the fact that within the organization that like sexual assaults claim is prevalent, and that, I mean, at least the claims of it are coming up, and that the claims are often like dismissed early, and people who make those claims like get harassed in certain ways, like that shows that it's kind of the same kind of the same problems that are in like I would say at least most countries in the world. It looks like it's like in the United Nations too, being that, you know, power and authority being seen as like it gives you the ability to like not have the same rules apply to you, basically, you know, and to that you get to like do things that to others and whatever you want to do. And then meanwhile, you try to enforce the opposite behavior on other people. And so, yeah, I think that it's just something that we're healing as a collective. It feels like it's about claiming your power and not allowing, you know, not allowing like the resistance of ego, of that consciousness based in fear to like bully you and, you know, keep you down, and instead to just stand in your power and say no to this kind of stuff. Yeah, it was surprising to me though. I was like, wow, it's crazy. Now, like from my perspective, like I don't know how it is in other countries, but in the US, like the UN isn't like I don't feel like a lot of Americans necessarily like pay a lot of attention to the United Nations, you know, because some Americans even are like, let's not be in the United Nations at all. But it was an interesting story for me to see, because I don't know, I didn't know that. I didn't know that it would be like that. So those are my thoughts on it so far.
Yeah, so the thing, you know, the thing that stands out for me is almost this double standard that Yoreen was talking to around having a diplomatic immunity, almost allowing you to think and act as if you're above and beyond the law. And yes, the United Nations is it's almost a governing body, but I don't necessarily believe that they have significant national rights in countries unless countries adopt UN resolutions and those kind of things. But the way those resolutions are then adopted, I think it kind of, for me, it presents quite for lack of a better phrasing, almost quite a scary testament that they are not walking the talk. So we have nations looking at things like women's rights, looking at things like early childhood abuse, childhood rights, childhood development, safety and security to an extent. And then the very people who are meant to maintain those standards are also subjected to abuse. So I feel it like for me, it felt very messy. It also felt very contradictory to what their purpose is. So yeah, I just, in terms of that, I just want to check in with you guys. How do you feel about what their purpose is, how they're serving their purpose, and how these stories probably shed quite a bad light on the way in which they do or do not serve their purpose?
Tell me if you can hear me. What came up in several discussions that I've had with people discussed today was it's kind of difficult to
Your sound is a lot softer now, so I'm not sure what you did to your sound.
I don't know. Like,
Yeah. Not really. Okay. I think I think it's okay for you. I think it's okay. Let's be here, but your sound is not really. Your words are not coming through really well, so we can't really hear what you're sharing. Okay, so I'm gonna say, if you can find a quieter spot, that's great. If not, then we'll see you next week. Because we can't hear you, so I'm not sure if what you have to share is not coming through. Yeah, so to the rest of the team, that's in terms of my question, how do we feel about whether or not the United Nations is serving their purpose or not?
Well, I feel that they definitely, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Sorry, my internet also isn't the best today. We must be moving through a block with that, just being present here. But I feel like they need to be held accountable for, you know, these actions and what's going on there. And I feel that if they were able to be held accountable and you know, go through the own legal process for themselves that is appropriate, then that would also, they would also be able to honor their purpose better, because they're holding themselves to the standard which they're trying to implement for others. So you have to first hold yourself, like give that purpose and accountability for your and responsibility for yourself in order for it to be implemented appropriately for others as well. Like there has to be, if it starts at home first, you know, so I feel that would definitely help with them serving their purpose, you know.
Yeah, and I think it's quite important that we feel into that space of the double standard, because I feel like the double standard probably defeats, to an extent, what the United Nations should stand for and is standing for. And in my view, it kind of brings to question respect. So it makes me question whether or not I respect the United Nations as a body that is meant to have literally a pervasive sense across the world, kind of thing. Yes, I know that there are member nations and all those other things, and there are non-member nations, but at the same time, I feel like if what is home for them is not healthy and is not appropriate to the people working there, then how do we as people who may be part of adopting those resolutions respect those resolutions and continue to implement them where this double standard kind of exists? And it kind of just feels to me very contradictory. There's a lot of contradictory energy in that space, given the report that we've been given, that we've read. And at the core of it, I feel like there's an energy that attack is still real. And this is why not only are things hidden when attack does happen, but they're dismissed offhand. And where people are then, where the attack is almost acknowledged, it's not completely acknowledged. It's like, oh, we're sorry about your unfortunate incident, but there's no real evidence. And so it kind of makes me question the validity of the leaders or the validity of the style of leadership in that space, because they will go into countries and investigate things, but at home they don't. And I feel like it's that energy of home is not a safe place, which feels very uncomfortable. So I'm not sure if that's something that you guys picked up in this in reading the story, but also it says to me that there's potential healing around home, and home being a safe place, and a safe place, and home being a place of security, kind of your your sanctuary. Like you don't expect to go into the office to become a target of some sort, due to what we can only conceive as really crappy behavior of people that think that they're above the law.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely feel that. It's that feeling of like, it's a feeling of like basically abuse of power. I would put in quotes. Yeah, like abuse of power, like someone who is like right there with you in like a space that others can't see, and they're like, I'm just going to do what I want in that space. Yeah, where people can't see. Absolutely. It's basically like that energy of like domestic abuse kind of thing going on. And I feel like, that's what a lot of people who have like misgivings about the UN, the United Nations, probably feel that way. Is they feel maybe intuitively or just from their perception of the world that, that's world government, it's crooked, they're just there to take advantage of their power, and use it for their advantage. And that's something that I guess it's an energy that is like present there, so, which makes sense because it's in people's minds and consciousness. So yeah, it's definitely something there to heal of, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're maybe like an elder in the family or something, like a parent or somebody, like, abusing their authority or power. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
So I kind of want to touch base with you. When you feel into that space, what feeling comes up for you?
Yeah, it's just a feeling. That's just a feeling of sadness. Yeah, it's like a powerless kind of feeling.
And can you see
Right
that part of yourself that's feeling sad or powerless?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if you were to ask her right now what she needs to let go of that sadness and powerlessness, what would her answer be?
I guess just to know that she's powerful and that, like, God is her loving parent, her parent.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Would you like to just go ahead and give her that reassurance right now?
Yeah, that feels good. Whew. I always yawn when I hear something.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Need oxygen. I need oxygen for that.
So sometimes yawning is the sign where you've actually just been constricted, and now you heal, and so you're free to breathe again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how does that feel?
That feels amazing. That feels really safe and comforting.
Awesome. And is there anything else that's there, or do you feel complete in this space?
Let me see. I don't know. I saw my early childhood bedroom change from like how it was to like much more comfy, so that was cool. It's cool how those visions come up, but yeah, I feel like there's an energy of like anxiety there, of like that others can still like others can still like fuck with me, you know, like I have my own little bubble with God, but people are gonna fuck with me, you know,
Okay.
nevertheless.
Okay. So let's unpack that a little bit. So that space that feels like it can be messed with.
Yeah.
What do you need in that space? What does that inner child need in that space that says, actually, this is mine and this is holy?
Yeah. To feel like just to accept that she deserves that, to have like her home and her safe space, you know?
Yeah. And does she deserve to have a space honored?
Yes, she does. Yeah.
Right. So if she deserves to have a space honored, is it really possible for somebody to fuck with her in that space?
No.
Right. So what is the new choice here?
Yeah, just choosing to just honor honor my sanctuary, like honor my safe space.
Yeah, and honor your divinity and honor the fact that you deserve respect in your space.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how does that feel?
Yeah. That feels a lot better.
Yeah. Would you like to just allow that healing to settle in a little bit? And as you allow that healing to settle in, just scan and feel if there's any other feelings coming up right now.
Yeah, it's basically like this fear of like visually in my mind, like I see like away from my bedroom, there's like whoever's room, like the dark bedroom where, you know, people live, the adults live, and I'm like, yeah, but they're still there, you know, like I live with these people, I'm stuck with them if they want to, you know, bother me.
And so
Yeah.
is it okay for them to be there if God is your sanctuary?
Is it okay for them to be there if God is my sanctuary?
Yeah.
I mean, no, not if they're.
But God is your sanctuary. What power do they possibly have?
Oh, okay. I didn't know how to answer that. I guess that's true. I guess they could still be there physically without necessarily you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I can't think of
safety, your security, protection, your power all comes from God.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, God is unfuckwithable. So let's not even go down that road, right?
Yeah.
Right. How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels good. It's just, it feels like, yeah, it's like taking your power back from others and not acknowledging that they have that.
Yeah. And is it okay to put up an energetic boundary so that they cannot mess with your space? How does it feel to know that you have that power?
Very comforting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just allow yourself to bathe in that power. And
Power
as you
back.
in that power, just allow that boundary to extend where you need it to extend.
Yeah.
And how does that feel?
Yeah, it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah. Because your power is not meant to be contained. Your power just is. And so your power can expand in any direction it wants to.
Yeah.
Claiming your power doesn't take away from somebody else. They all have their own power.
Right.
And so putting up a boundary is you literally accepting your power.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels good. It feels very nice. Like, yeah, I resonate with that. That's really good because yeah, like what you said about like you claiming your power doesn't take away somebody else's, because they have their own, Yeah.
Exactly. And their power shouldn't encroach on you just the way your power shouldn't encroach on them.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that feels good.
Yeah. Would you like to make the choice to have your power respected?
Yeah, and I choose to respect it, and others too.
Yes. You have the right and the worthiness to have your power and your space respected at all times. Not
Yeah.
under certain conditions, not when it suits somebody or when it suits doesn't suit somebody, at all times. It's not negotiable. How does it feel to know that your power is not negotiable?
Yeah, it's like very relieving to feel that.
Yeah, I mean, relief. Do you feel complete in this space, or is there anything else coming up?
Let me see. Yeah, no, I feel, yeah, I'm just processing that whole thing, that, like, you don't have to like give up some of your power for others, or others don't have to give it up for you, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, you don't have to like accept powerlessness just to like have a, I don't know, relationship with someone.
amen. Amen. And knowing all of that, how do you feel now?
Yeah, it feels good. It feels yeah, very stable feeling.
Is that stability complete? Is it the completion of the process, or is there anything else coming up?
I feel like it's good. I can't tell if it's like upheaval or not. It probably is. Yeah, if there's any, like, there's like a, yeah, just like that like anxiety about other people. Like, are they going to?
That's not upheaval. That's a feeling. Why
Okay.
anxiety in that space?
Oh, just it's still that like believing that. So, there's these other people around, and for some reason there's still that feeling of like they're gonna do what they want regardless.
So in that space of anxiety, could there be a feeling that they can attack?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right. So let's look at that. What is that fear of attack actually giving you?
I don't know. I think it's just a feeling of like you've got to be like on edge or on guard like that in order to like be safe.
Okay, so being on edge and on guard is not being safe. Does that create safety, or does that create more anxiety and discomfort?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it creates anxiety and more anxiety and discomfort.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
let's look at that space. Is there a part of you that believes that she can be attacked and harmed?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And in that space where you feel that feeling, where does your safety come from?
Right. Yeah, it comes from God.
Right. And so would God possibly put you in a place where you are not safe?
No.
What purpose would it serve?
Nothing. Yeah, not for no.
Exactly. It would serve no purpose.
Yeah.
So is it okay to let go of the perception that you can be harmed?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Then the rough it around, calling it a perception, because it's something that's in your awareness. And so you're perceiving that attack is real.
Mm-hmm.
And based on your healing, how real can attack possibly be?
Yeah. You know, I mean, it can't be real,
Right.
you know.
So you can make a new choice in your reality to feel safe and
Yeah.
to receive evidence of your safety and to be open to the evidence of your safety.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how does that feel?
That feels good.
Good. Good. Because you are safe. As a
Yes.
divine child of God, you are safe. As a
Yeah.
powerful being, you are safe. If there's something in your reality that's giving you evidence to the contrary, then that's a vibration to clean up through your healing.
Mm.
And as you clean up the vibration, your reality shifts, right?
Yeah.
Good. How does that feel?
Mm. Yeah, it feels good.
Good. I'd like for you to just check in with yourself
Mm.
and feel the energy around you. What does that energy around you tell you right now?
Like the energy of the like environment.
Not, yeah, of your environment, your own personal energy. How does it feel?
Oh, my own personal energy.
Mhm.
It feels like well, it still feels like kind of on edge, I have to say, you know.
Right. Okay. So let's just check in.
Hmm.
Does that on edge feeling serve a purpose?
Mm,
What do you get from it?
no, I mean it's I guess I mean the only purpose again, like it's like the same thing, like, you know, be ready because shit can happen kind of, you know, energy or thought.
Okay. So try this on. Is it okay to be aware and vigilant
Yeah.
without feeling on edge?
Yes.
Is that okay? Is it
Mhm.
possible?
Yeah, I truly feel it is.
Right. And so would you like to see evidence of that in your reality?
Yeah.
Good. So make the choice.
Yeah.
Use your power here.
There we go. Got
Use
it.
your power here. It is okay to be aware of my reality, and it is okay to be vigilant of what's happening around me and to be at peace all at the same time.
Right.
How does that feel?
Yeah, that feels good.
Yeah, because
That's
your
like
natural state is not to be on edge. You weren't
yeah.
built to be on edge.
What do you say?
You were not built to be on edge.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What were you built to be?
Um in the middle. Just kidding. Versus the edge.
At peace. You were built to be at peace. That is your natural state.
Yeah.
Would you like to choose your natural state?
Yes.
Right. So what is the choice you're making here?
Hmm. Choosing to be at peace and be in my natural state of being.
Absolutely. And how does that feel?
Yeah, it feels good.
Good.
Very good.
Because you're meant to feel good. And you can't feel good if you're feeling on edge.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's true.
Cool. So how are you feeling now?
Yeah, it feels a lot more. Yeah, it feels a lot more relaxed. It's like relaxing
Good.
energy. So.
Good. Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Do you trust your peace?
And kind of. I know it's possible to.
I would like you to feel into that space because, I'm sharing that because it's something that I've had to learn to do, is to trust my
Yeah.
peace more and more. And that's what I'm asking. Do you trust your peace?
I don't feel like there's trust there. It feels very tenuous.
Right. And so
Yeah.
what would make you trust in that space more, or in that feeling more?
In my heart, I feel it's like to just really believe that that's the truth, and that only that is
Believe
real.
that it's possible.
Yeah,
You believe that it's possible.
Yeah.
So would you like to try it out?
Yeah.
Good. How does it feel to give yourself permission to try out the possibility of living a peaceful life and being in peace?
Really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Or as you try it and you see more evidence, will it allow you to trust it more?
Oh yeah, totally.
Good.
Yeah.
And is it okay to take your time to allow it to become more of your reality?
Yeah.
And is it okay to take your time to allow it to fill up your reality more?
Yeah, totally.
Good. How does that feel?
Yeah, that feels very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check in with your body. How's your body feeling?
No, I was gonna say it kind of feels like my yeah, like in my like abdomen area, midsection, or like the solar plexus chakra area, if you want to be that way, which I do. It feels like it kind of filled in with energy. It's kind of relaxing, Yeah.
Because you allowed your energy to flow more freely.
Yeah.
So the energy was always there. You just became more aware of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
It wasn't stuck. It wasn't contained. You're allowing it to flow more freely. Being on edge restricts you.
I feel like with that, and I think also like with healing these kinds of things like traumas or whatever about attack, like on the topics we're discussing, I think it's important to let go of the past and stop only accepting that, like you were saying, like only accepting that as evidence of how the world is.
And the universe is just agreeing with you with that siren in the background.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you hear that? Yeah.
Yep, there's no coincidence, right? So there's a universal agreement there.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, just letting go of that fixation on like what you've known and what has happened, and focusing on the truth there. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can, I mean, it's okay for those to have been your experiences.
Mm-hmm.
It's also okay for you to heal so that you let go of the emotional charge related to those experiences.
Mm-hmm.
How does that feel?
Yeah.
Does it feel complete to you?
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely feels better. I feel like, it's simply, it's like just a part of myself that really needs to, like sit with that and really be present with that. Like, I believe in peace. I believe in being safe, all of that.
Yeah. And so would you like to give yourself permission to remember that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How does that feel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that feels good there.
Yeah. You don't have to do everything immediately. You just got to allow it in. You just
Yeah.
got to let go of the resistance to it.
Mm.
How does it feel to know that you have the power to move in any direction?
Yeah, it feels very good. Yeah, I like what you said about just letting go of the resistance to it, because it's like it lets me feel those feelings and kind of let them go, and process it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just a different mindset, and the truth that it's just your resistance to like the love that is already there, like the peace that's already there. It's not that the attack or the whatever is real. It's that there's resistance to what is there. Yeah.
But remember that the resistance generally just points you to greater healing.
Right.
There's nothing else. It doesn't carry any other charge except that it points you to your healing. And so it's okay. It's okay for you to become aware of the resistance so that you can process it.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
now you're feeling overall right now.
Yeah, it feels much more peaceful.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's yeah. I guess, yeah, I'll just keep, processing that, and knowing that that resistance is pointing me toward more healing and more peace, instead of just being like, oh, I'm discouraged by it, look, there's more of it. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Does it feel complete to you?
Yeah, yeah. I want to say yes, because it's kind of like something that has been stubborn in me in my reality, for sure. But
No. You want to say yes, but there's obviously something that you can't
I
say.
know, but I just wanted to be like, we have like so much stuff to get into as well on top of that,
No, we only have healing to get into. That's all we have to get into. The topics will flow. There's more weeks coming. We don't have to finish everything today. So if it doesn't feel complete, I would like you to feel into that space where it doesn't feel complete.
Sure. Let's see. All right. Yeah, I guess it's like that feeling of it's like doubting that peace and safety. It's it's like focusing on like there's dangerous shit in the world and in life, and feeling like that negates like your peace and your safety. You know what I mean?
But is it possible for it to really negate your peace? Or is it just something that probably makes you a little bit more hypervigilant?
It shouldn't, because we're created by God. We're not just like, animate matter and stuff where anything can happen. So no, it shouldn't negate peace. I guess it can make you vigilant. It feels almost like the vigilance is way excessive though, because it like doesn't serve me to be so like hyper vigilant, because it's not like there's like a crime being committed every second, like right beside me or something. Like that's totally not true. So yeah.
Okay, so here's a question. Does your hypervigilance make you believe that you are creating a more safe space for yourself?
I feel like there is there is that belief that, oh yes, hypervigilance, it creates more safety because you're aware, of like if there's something that you need to address. Yeah.
Yeah, and so in that space, is there a part of you that feels like God could possibly abandon you?
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like there is.
Right. And if you ask that part of you right now, what she needs to trust God more, what would she say to you?
I guess it's kind of like what I'm hearing is like, make all of those experiences, go away, like those experiences of like, not being safe or whatever.
To make them go away.
Well, it said that's what my heart said. I mean, in simple
That's
terms.
perfect. Don't
Yeah.
judge what your heart is saying. Listen to what your heart is saying. It's pointing to something.
Yeah.
Right. And so, in that space where your heart is saying, make it go away, do you have the ability to control everything around you?
No, like you can't control everything around you.
Right. What can you control?
Just yourself and your choices, and
Right.
your vibration. Excuse me.
Right. And so, in that vibrational space, are you trying to take responsibility for God's job?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it feels that's right.
So would you like to let go of that responsibility and give it back to God?
Yeah, totally. Thank
Good.
you.
Good.
Yeah.
And in that space where you've just released the energy of control and that feeling that you need to control what happens around you, can you invite God into that space to take control of those things?
Yeah.
Good. How does that feel?
Yeah, that feels very, yeah, it's like extremely relieving.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. In that feeling of extreme relief, how does your peace feel now?
It feels really, no, yeah. So it's actually feeling pretty solid and like it's a very like substantial,
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Would you like to just absorb all of that solid, stable feeling?
Yeah.
And as it settles in, would you like to allow it to expand
Yeah.
around you and outward?
Mm. Mhm.
How does that expansion of that peace and stability make your world feel?
Yeah, no, it makes it feel really, I don't know how to say it, like divine. It really does. It makes it feel very like blessed, I would say, and safe,
Amen? Because that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Music. That's the vibration you're projecting.
Yeah.
Can you get a different response to the vibration that you're projecting?
Yeah, and at least my different perception or feeling. But yeah, no, I do feel the response and feels good.
Good. Does
Yeah.
the good feeling feel complete? Does the healing feel complete?
Yeah, that feels good. Yeah, I just like I feel that like it's not the environment that makes you feel on the edge. It's your own stuff that you're like holding on to within. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not possible for us not to feel what's happening around us.
No, that's true.
We don't
But
operate in isolation. We're part of a bigger whole. And so what we can do in influencing that bigger whole is influencing what energy we put out into that home.
Right.
Right. And you've just put some very stable, protective, solid energy into that space.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it feels good. Makes it feel a lot better.
Good.
Here. Yeah.
Does a lot better mean complete, or is there further to go?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it feels really good. I guess I'm just like, part of me was going to say like, well, I perceive my environment as more safe, but it doesn't mean that it necessarily is, you know, but at least I feel good.
Yeah, but you can choose. You can make a new choice.
Yeah.
For your environment to provide you with the evidence of what you're perceiving.
Right.
Right. So how about we make that new choice?
Oh, yeah, I do choose that.
Right. So I choose for my environment to reflect the stability, safety, and protection that I feel within myself. How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels good. Feels good.
That sounds very tentative.
Well, because part of me has this belief of like I don't live in a safe place. Like I live in kind of a neighborhood where like on occasion, yeah, there's gonna be a street fight or someone's gonna shoot someone or this and that, you know. Like that's kind of just how it is here, and you just like stay in, you
Right.
know.
So is it okay to make the choice to transcend that space when you're ready to?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
I do. Yeah, because it's, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, now I believe I've never personally been bothered by anyone, like, in that way in this area, though. And I do feel that it's because of my choices and what I attract. So I felt that on this journey, you know, all along. So
Right.
that's
And through the teachings of union, we also know that once we've loved something completely, we transcend it. So which part of your environment are you still not loving?
Yeah, loving the ghetto completely. Well, what I don't love is like murderers walking around. You know what I mean? Like I don't like that.
You don't have to love it.
I know, I
But
certainly
you
don't.
love what God has given you so that God can give you something else.
Right.
Right. How does that feel? Knowing that you have that power. God has given you a space where you are owning your skills in being aware of what's happening around you. And it's okay. It's okay for you to be aware of that. It's okay to love it to the point where you're like, I feel peaceful about having experienced this and call in a new experience.
Yeah. No, yeah, that feels good. I feel I feel that.
Yeah, because the fact is we can call in a new experience at any time we want to. It's just to appreciate what we have so that our appreciation translates into our transcendence of what we have. If it serves a purpose.
Right. So, yeah. Right. So then that would be like, so for me, like living in like the neighborhood, I guess, that I live in or area, it's like teaching me to like have boundaries and to know that I am safe and I have power in my reality, right?
Absolutely.
Like all the stuff that we've been talking about.
And to trust that you actually do have the safety. It's not just about believing, it's trusting. And as you said, you haven't actually experienced some of those things that are happening in that environment.
Yeah,
So
no.
there's already evidence that you are safe.
Right. Yeah, there's totally, and people, there's like the feeling of like, if you don't choose it, you don't have to be involved in any of that, you know? Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
The more you appreciate that you are not affected in certain ways, the more you're going to get evidence and experiences that show you are not affected.
right.
How does it feel knowing that?
Yeah, it feels good. It feels comforting.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you trust that comfort?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
Good. Good. How are you feeling overall right now?
Yeah, I feel a lot more relaxed and yeah, less on edge for sure. Yeah. I feel like it's like, yeah.
Good.
Excuse me.
Well, saying good.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say thank you to you for working through all of that with us, because I feel like it's been a significant component of what we've been working through as a team, and we're kind of getting more and more to the truth of our safety and to the truth of how we can actually influence our reality. And so thank you for being vulnerable. Literally, we've gone through quite a significant piece of healing right now.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. No, it is a beautiful thing that we can heal that together and show people. So yeah. And I absolutely relate
Yeah.
to it, you know, throughout my whole journey. It's just I like keep moving through new layers of it, which is totally fine. But without all of the trauma of like a bunch of like traumatic stuff happening in my life, because that hasn't been the case. It's been very rare that anything like that happened. You know, I've been on the spiritual path of unionism and doing the mirror exercise for 4 years now, a little over that. And I was in all kinds of places, and even like being a transgender woman, being out as myself, you know, I mean, not that you're any more or less safe being that, but there's like a thought that you're less safe being a trans woman or a LGBT person. But I haven't experienced that. I've experienced being just as safe, or I don't know, just safe, period. And it's been a blessing to be able to have that, because, you know, it's so healing for everyone and in our community. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
The rest of the team for holding space as we worked through all of that healing with Sage.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have reached our hour. So I'm going to say thank you to everybody for being here. And thank you to the people that have followed us and have liked and subscribed to our Church of Union YouTube channel. And for anybody else that hasn't yet, please feel free to do so. And we will see all of you next week. The conversation in our Seeking Harmony series. Bye.
Bye.